Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Basketball, TITTH number 189. We are back with some basketball at the Hizzy. How we doing, Steve?
We're doing good. We're back for another season. Feels right.
It's Friday. It's a little bit different. So usually Friday night's a little bit wide open, but I'm glad to be here talking some ball with y'all. Gonna get after it. We're missing Blake tonight. We got to put out an APB on Blake. It was supposed to be Blake's big return, but he's MIA at the moment. Maybe he'll jump into the show. I'm not sure. Blake, if you're watching, put down the phone, get your shit on, and let's go. But otherwise, me and Steve here, we're ready to jump into it. We're going to be doing some fantasy basketball talk, getting our game picks in. But for right now, we are going to start off with our best bets for the night and our monkey knife fight props. What do you got going on tonight, Steve? What are your best bets?
Yeah, so I got two of them. I got Kevin Porter Jr. over 12.5 points. Okay. I think he's absolutely electric. He can put points up in bunches. And he's going against the Thunder. I think that allows him to get some run there. And then I'm going to go Kuzma under on 16.5 points. I think maybe he maxes out at like 14 at the most, but I don't expect much output from him.
Okay, I like those, especially the Kevin Porter one. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in that game, not a lot of defense. So tonight I probably got too many, so I'm just going to run through them pretty quickly here. I got a little excited, getting back on the show. A couple of props have already hit through the past couple of days since the start of the season, so pretty excited about these. We got Nikola Vucevic under 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. James Harden under 9.5 assists. Aaron Gordon over 11.5 points. And I got Pottle for the Spurs over 8.5 points and over 8.5 rebounds. Like those a lot. Don't go with all of them. Maybe pick one or two.
I like that Vooch play a lot. He had a good game in the opener, 15, and 4, and didn't even really come close to that number. So he could even have a big night and not hit that. So I like that under.
Yeah, exactly. His total was at 34 in the last game. So giving me another 3 spots there. I'll take the under on that. No problem. All right, let's jump into our monkey knife fight props. Our first pairing up here, we've got Nikola Vucevic versus Derrick White. We're going on total points here. So the points for Jokic is 27.5, and the points for White is 16.5.
I like both overs. I don't really like any matchup the Spurs can throw at Jokic that'll really disrupt him just because he's a great player. Derrick White, it could come down to the wire. I just think this will be kind of a faster paced game, so I think he'll hit the over.
All right, yeah, I like the over for Derrick White. I'm going to take the under for Jokic. I mean, in the last game, he had 26 points and only a couple assists. I think tonight he distributes the ball a little bit more. I think Popovich gets into his bag, tries a couple more double teams on him. Really try to force him to get the ball out of his hands and distribute more than score. So I'm going to go with a higher assist total tonight, and 24 to 26 points barely makes it. Next up, we have Zach Levine versus Brandon Ingram, Bulls versus Pelicans. Levine's number is at 25.5 points, and Ingram is at 24.5. I do really like the overs for both of these.
I definitely like the over on Levine. Ingram, I can also see going over. Obviously, they don't have Zion, so he'll get his number called upon plenty. There's another prop I liked of Brandon Ingram. I think it was over on his rebounds. So I think he can have a big game. They're gonna need him. So yeah, I like the over for both as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Levine's going to get Nikhil Walker, and Ingram's going to get a mixture of Patrick Williams, and I don't even know who we're throwing in the paint behind him because who's hurt?
I was thinking that guy from the Thunder, that young guy. I can never remember his name.
He should have a lot of opportunity. He went over that number in the last game, so I'm pretty comfortable with it still. We'll get into that in the game preview here in a moment. Let's get started with the game previews here because we do have a couple of kicking off here soon. So we're going to start with the Let's see, the Celtics and the Raptors. So we got Boston laying -7 at home, Raptors +7 on the road. Raptors are +245 road dogs going to Boston. Over under is at 217.5 points. I like Boston here. I like them to cover. I like them to win. Had a very impressive performance up against the Knicks on opening night so far. Probably game of the year. I don't think we can really argue that. But there were a lot of highs and lows for the Celtics in that one. A couple of really good runs, a handful of bad ones. But I still think operationally they outmatch Toronto. Like the starters on the bench, I think they're a better team. Toronto's going to be missing Siakam. What do you think here?
Yeah, I got to agree with the Celtics at home on this one, laying the 7. I do like the Raptors long term to be a team that's kind of scrappy and can cover in a lot of games. I just don't think this is one of them. I want to see more out of them this year. No Siakam. That's obviously a big centerpiece of their offense. So I'll take the Celtics here. Still a good team. Yeah. Obviously disappointed at the tail end of last year, but very talented.
What do you think about the total of 217? In Toronto's last game, they lost 98-83 to the Wizards. So a clean under. Obviously, Boston and the Knicks, they were closing in on 300.
Yeah, I'll put a disclaimer kind of out now. I'm gonna take a lot of unders in these first couple games. That first day, I thought we were going to see a lot of overs. Really, I thought we'd see sloppy defense, but you saw sloppy offenses, lots of turnovers, really low scoring games. And we touched on one before, the Jazz and the Thunder, and they didn't even scratch 200 points, I don't believe. So or just barely. So I'm going to take a lot of unders, and I take the under here.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just about to bring up the point after you mentioned the total. I do like the over for this one. Boston, they didn't even really dig into their depth. Like Juan Hernan-Gomez didn't play. Enes Kanter didn't touch the floor whatsoever. So I think they'll have the depth, with these guys that, were playing a lot of minutes the other night to give them some rest. And I think that they can still go to the total or go to the over. But I hear you 100%. Every single one of these games, the public is over on the total. So in this game, 54%, the money's coming in on the over. Brooklyn and Philly, 54%, 58, 65, 95, 52, 97. As we get through the games, we'll go through these, but the public is heavy on the overs. We fade the public around here. So I like where your head's at there. Slow start to the seasons. I was mentioning, James Harden earlier. Not necessarily, he's not fat Harden like last season. He wasn't like Fat Albert shape, but he's still a little portly, we'll say. He's not in mid-season condition, right? So I do like the over in this one. I definitely, majority of games, I do prefer the under because the numbers are really high, the totals. And again, the majority of the public is coming in on the overs. And I think that's just because the numbers are so high. We get into that mindset when the number is super low, we hammer the under. When it's super high, we hammer the over. You got to balance it out. And obviously, we don't have the sample sizes to, last 5 games, last 8 games, et cetera. We're in game 2, game 3 for some teams. So I do like the over in this one. Back to the spread a little bit. Boston, 82% of the public coming in on them. I do like the spread. It's a little bit too heavy-handed for the spread. Not saying that I'm going with the public, but I do love that -7. Earlier today, it was at -6. So there has been some movement on that, probably from the Raptor side. All right, next up, we've got the Brooklyn Nets coming in as road favorites, -2.5 on the spread, -140 on the money line. Over-under in this one is 226. Joel Embiid is a game-time decision. I just saw him speaking, but I couldn't hear him speaking. Seems like he's all right. I'm not sure if he's going to be in or out. I'm going to get an update on it now. I still honestly like the 76ers with or without him, but that GTD has been removed from his name. So give me the 76ers. I'm hammering the plus money. What do you think?
I was a homer last year for the Nets, and I got to stick with it. I like the Nets here. 76ers, obviously, a lot of drama around the team. With Embiid's health, obviously, he's not 100%, but he's got to be fairly close. I don't think that impacted too much. As for the total here, I really like the under. I think it's going to be a close game late in the fourth. And I could really see this one being low 100s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like 110, 104 to the 76ers.
Yep.
I think they do cover this, obviously cover the spread. They're the plus option. And their last game, they won on the road over the Pelicans 117 to 97. I didn't think it was like overly impressive. I mean, that's a team that they should definitely beat, whether it's at home, on the road, on the moon, doesn't matter. But they were, they were in a situation where it's like 4 to 6 point lead, and they didn't really blow them out. They created some separation at the end of the game, but I felt like when it was close, they still played smart basketball. They played well as a unit. So I'm going with the 76ers there. Brooklyn, man, I laid money on them first game against the Bucks. Or actually, no, I didn't lay money on them. I laid money on Harden. That's what it was. And I was very disappointed with James Harden. I had picked the Lakers on opening night. That's where I got right now.
Yeah.
Right here, right there. But no, don't love Brooklyn right now. Still trying to figure things out. You mentioned the drama with the 76ers. There's plenty of that to go around in Brooklyn right now with Kyrie as well. So they're still trying to figure things out. You got James Harden playing at the point. I'm not saying he's not a great point guard, but that's not his natural position. Like at the end of the day, like he should be scoring, not facilitating. I'm on the under 9.5 assists in this game. Had 8 in the last game. Hopefully he doesn't throw one at me. He has done that before. I've taken under 10 and he's put up 13. So by all means, James Harden, go do your thing. Like we mentioned, Brooklyn, big loss to the Bucks in game 1, 127-104. I just don't love their lineup right now without Kyrie. Starting, Blake Griffin and Nick Claxton, like they don't really do anything for me. Nothing over the moon, right? Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, decent pieces, but they're just kind of filling in. You're still going to see a lot of minutes from KD and Harden, what I thought was interesting. I don't know if you caught a lot of that game, but they weren't using them on the floor at the same time together very consistently, Harden and Durant. It wasn't really a big thing for them.
That's strange. You'd think you'd want to piggyback just 2 playmakers together, right? So you kind of get going, especially when you're lacking. If you have a Kyrie in the mix there and you can keep 2 of the 3 on the court, then you're fine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is a little surprising. The Nets kind of are in a similar state as they were last year that we hit on. They're just depleted beyond that front line that they have, and they're still trying to fix some of those pieces. You see LeBron, when he goes to teams like the Lakers, he fills out the entire roster.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He takes care of business. I mean, we'll get to the Lakers here in a little bit. Russell Westbrook, maybe one of those guys he shouldn't have brought over, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. With the 76ers, though, I mean, obviously we got Embiid playing. They're up 3-2 right now. Seth Curry hit a 3-pointer to start the game. I'm not sure who got the 2 points for Brooklyn. I was, back to the camera there. KD from 3, not good. That was a rim job. But they got Andre Drummond too, the 76ers. He had a great game 1. I was really sad I didn't get him in fantasy. I was texting Blake. I was like, my next pick, I'm grabbing Drummond, hands down. I already had Embiid, but I'm like, I'm going after him. He was gone.
Rebound machine.
Yeah, exactly. And just a huge body in the paint that you're going to have to be, always be cautious about. Harden step back 3. Was he fouled? He was not. And he missed. 6-2 run so far for the 76ers. All right, next game up we have here is OKC and the Rockets. OKC and the Rockets. Fun one. Yeah. Almost very similar to Thursday night football.
Good analogy.
Yeah, exactly. So we got the Thunder coming in as road dogs, +3 on the spread. Nice little friendly 3 there. +130 on the money line, and over under is at 220.5 points. I like the Rockets at home. Neither team is great here, but they're playing at home. They scored a fair amount of points in their last game, 106, to where OKC only put up 86. 20-point margin there. I like their scores. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, like you had mentioned, you're on his prop. Jayshawn Tate, nice little jump shooter. Eric Gordon. I'm not sure if Gordon's starting or playing as a 6 man. How they're working that. But Daniel Theis, Christian Wood, I think they're a good combo in the paint as well. They're not necessarily a team that I hate. They're not the Orlando Magic at the end of the day.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like the Rockets -3. Kevin Porter obviously being a huge part of that. This Rockets team is a lot of young and up-and-coming guys. Jalen Green, obviously a top pick. Daniel Theis, he won me over when he came to the Bulls last year. So Christian Woods obviously was in that most improved player talk and then kind of fell injured. So I like to see him just kind of expand his role on that team. But yeah, I think they're going to actually be a lot better this year. So I like them -3. As for the total here, sitting at 220.5. I want to take the over so bad.
Mm-mm.
I'm the only thing I'm nervous about is the Thunder doing their part. Only scoring 86 or 87 points game one.
Mm.
Tough.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Houston, they're not the Jazz. I mean, we'll give them, the Jazz their fair respect. But I agree with you, and not just on their side of the ball either. But Houston, they can go on some bad runs. They can have a couple minutes go by without a couple of buckets. So yeah, I think there could be a slower pace of game or pace of play. I'm sorry, at certain points in that game. So give me the under, and I'm just taking Houston on the money line when it's 3 points and the teams are that bad. I'm trying to keep it simple. Just give me the money line for the Houston Rockets tonight.
Yeah, at minus 150, great value. Not too much juice, and you don't got to lay any points. Smart play.
Exactly. All right, next up, we've got the Pelicans and the Bulls. Nolans coming in as road dogs, plus 6.5 on the spread, plus 230 on the money line. Over under is at 223 points, and the Bulls are laying minus 275 at home. Took the Bulls money line. I don't love the spread. The Bulls were like this close to blowing the cover up against Detroit, which is, I mean, again, they're not the Magic. They're kind of an up-and-coming, gritty type of roster, but I was very disappointed in my Bulls. Terrible start, 14 points in the first quarter, not good enough. They were able to close it down with a fair amount of offense, timely offense, we'll say, and solid defense in the second half. So I'm playing a little scared on this one. I'm going to take the money line. It's a heavy favorite at minus 275, but I don't want to play with the spread. The Pelicans, they lost by, what was it? 117 to 97, so about 20 points or so to the 76ers. But for most of that game, they kept it pretty close. And even without Zion, obviously Lonzo with the Bulls, a little revenge game spot here for him. I still like them to win outright, but I do not trust that cover.
I actually do like the Bulls to cover here. I don't necessarily feel strong though to the cover. I do think you see a little bit of the Bulls offense get a little more smooth flowing. Obviously saw a lot of turnovers in the first game, almost had 20 as a team. You see DeRozan maybe get a little bit more scoring going. Vooch to have a little, maybe more than 15. He hits more of those top of the key jumpers. And then he's having a good game. So I think I'd lay the points here with the Bulls.
Yeah, I'm too scared. I'm gonna stay away. I'm gonna stay away. Damar Derozan, he was a big reason why I took the under on Vucevic's total points, rebounds, and assists tonight, because I think DeRozan's going to have a big game. He's got a great matchup up against Garrett Temple. I know you want that revenge game on the Bulls. It ain't happening, pal. It ain't happening. He's gonna have a long night trying to shut down Levine and DeRozan. So yeah, give me the Bulls there. I love the matchup at first game at home. Should be a nice one for him. Next up, we've got the Spurs and the Nuggets. So the Spurs are traveling to Denver, plus 7.5 on the spread, plus 265 on the money line. Over under is at 221.5 points. I actually like the Spurs to cover here. They had a really good first game, 123-97 win over the Magic. And I mean, the Magic are in the basement of the NBA, but they look good and they have some fresh faces there. Doug McDermott's, starting at the 3 right now. That's a little bit different. You got Derrick White that's actually healthy, playing minutes. DeJounte Murray healthy, playing minutes. So I'm actually really into the Spurs this year, especially DeJounte Murray. Great two-way guard, can play offense and defense. I got the Pottle prop tonight, at least 9 boards, at least 9 points. So I'm taking the Spurs to cover. I think they're going to keep it close. What do you think, Steve?
It's a tall number to lay for the Nuggets at 7.5. I would maybe even think about buying it down just a bit. I like the Nuggets here, though. Okay. They had a very convincing win over the Suns team that we obviously know has talent, made it to the NBA Finals last year. I do think you got to worry about San Antonio traveling to Denver. I think that does play a little bit of effect to this spread. So I like the Nuggets, but I might buy it down 6.5.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. I certainly wouldn't lay the 7.5 or beyond. No alt lines or anything like that. But I think this game's going to be closer than we're anticipating. I mean, obviously there's a lot of heavy favorites tonight, and I feel like one or two of these has got to get blown up. I feel like this is a good spot for it. Not saying the Spurs are going to go over the top and beat them, but I think they'll keep it close enough. And they're another just really gritty team. They got Popovich on their side. You can't go wrong with that, right? And the Nuggets, they were in a good position in that last game. They were actually down and then came back to finish in the second quarter. I want to say they were down like 14 and they brought it within 4 by the half, and then they blew them out in the second half. So they're a gritty team, but at the same time, they can go through those ebbs and flows and allow teams to take advantage of those opportunities. So give me the Spurs to cover. I do like the Nuggets to win, and that total, it's really close. I do like a good amount of offense in this game. I'll go with the over on this one. I'll go with the over on San Antonio and the Nuggets. Not on all of them, but I like this one. Should be a fair amount of scoring. Like 118, 114, 118, 115, something like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, next up. Suns and Lakers. Dreams and nightmares, highs and lows, peaks and valleys, these two teams. Let me tell you. The Suns, they were disappointing the other night. Devin Booker didn't do anything. I think he shot 3 for 15. It was an awful night.
Garbage.
Just really showing that they need him to go like over a certain number, whether it's 20 points a game, 25 points a game. They need him producing. And I feel like the Lakers are really going to close in on that. So I'd like them to win tonight, not messing with the spread. The Lakers haven't won a game this season. They haven't won a preseason game, and they didn't win the first game. So they got to figure it out. I think the Lakers get it done tonight. That last game, the Lakers lost. They lost, 121 to 114 to the Warriors on opening night. In that game, that was the first time that LeBron and AD have both scored 30 and lost. So maybe some similar issues there to like the Nets as well. I don't know, but I'm taking them tonight. I think they'll figure out Devin Booker. They'll slow him down and keep the key X factor component of their offense slow and steady for the night and not allow him to blow up his spot. Now tell me why the Suns are going to win.
No, I think this is one of my favorite games on the whole slate. I think it's also one of those where it's like the Lakers can't keep losing. So it's just like, all right, I'm going to bet them until they win that game. And I'm going to at least win one bet,
Right. Yeah.
So, and with it being so low, I mean, obviously you just hit the money line at minus 122.
Mm-hmm.
Suns, you hit it right on the head with Booker. If you can take him out of the game defensively, you're going to have a lot of success against this Suns team. So I like the Lakers here. Just take a money line.
Yeah, I'm going to take a money line as well. And I like the under as well. So the last game, Lakers went 114. Suns went 98. Don't love it.
Yeah, I don't love it either. I got to go under. Need to see more out of the Suns. Need to see them playing at how they were at last season when they were gelling, passing, and all that, really hitting the open guy. Like the under here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Embiid going to the line. They're up 20-11, 76ers over the Nets. I mean, right now, LaMarcus Aldridge and Claxton and Blake are just no match for Embiid. I swear, the questionable, the GTG tags, it's all a mind game, man. It's all a mind game.
Oh, yeah. Especially in the NBA.
Ignore that garbage. No, I forgot to put the Lakers on the bottom. Oh, well. All right, next up, we've got the Jazz and the Kings. Jazz traveling to Sacramento, coming in as road favorites, -6 on the spread, -245 in the money line. And the total in this one is big, 226.5. I like the Kings to cover. I think the Kings are going to cover at home. They beat Portland in their first game, only by a couple, but it was on the road, and they looked really good.
Yeah, so I told you on the pre-show, I laid the Jazz -6, and you completely talked me out of them and talked me into the Kings. I didn't get to catch the game versus the Trailblazers, so obviously, going off a little bit of a recency bias or something, I was like, Jazz should easily cover this versus the Kings.
Right.
But you see Kings, a very fast-paced team. De'Aaron Fox just gets it and goes, kind of like an Energizer Bunny. So I do think you can see the Kings be scrappy here, get a game out of Halliburton. Yeah, like Kings +6. You talked me into it.
Yeah, give me the Kings +6. Love De'Aaron Fox. Tyrese Halliburton only had 2 points in his last game, but Harrison Barnes went off for 36. Not saying he's going to do that anytime soon again, but he should be, he should be feeling pretty good about himself. I think he'll have another good night, maybe over 20 points, handful of rebounds and assists. He's just one of those guys that can do it all. They got Buddy Hield coming off the bench. Like I said, I think Halliburton has a better game. He only had 2 points in that last game. And Rashawn Holmes, he's arrived, man. He's solid down low, can finish on offense and defense. So Give me the Kings in this one. Love the Jazz, just to cover, by the way, just on the +6. I do think the Jazz can still win this one. I just think that the Kings will keep it close. The Jazz are a great team defensively, but I do think that we still go over the top of this number here at 226 just because of the pace of play. I think that the Kings are really going to demand the Jazz to play to their tempo while they're on the road.
Yeah, obviously one of the taller numbers on the entire of all the games. But like I said earlier, just with how much the Kings like to run up and down the floor, them being at home, I think they can really get out and just control the tempo of it. And the Jazz can easily just stay with them bucket for bucket. They're a very talented team. They got depth. So I think this is one where you do like the over in a game, in a night of the unders being my pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you as well. All right, let's jump to the fantasy basketball waiver wire. So most of these, we try to keep them below 50% ownership as close as possible. But this first name up here, he's 53% rostered, and that's Chris Duarte for the Indianapolis Pacers. He got 33 minutes in the opening game. He put up 27 points, 5 boards, not much else, but I felt like the offense was enough for me. In points leagues, he put up about 39.5 points. Excuse me. Added a steal and assist. Again, it's not like amazing, but I feel like with Karis LeVert out for a while, Duarte is going to be a solid start until then.
Yeah, I mean, you saw with the minutes there, 33 minutes in the first one. You love to see that, especially for I don't know. Do you call him a young guy? Because I think he's the oldest guy in that entire draft class, but he is a rookie, and
right.
So yeah, I think you could definitely get to play the points there. 27. Wow. Impressive.
That's a lot. What was his number earlier? I was looking at his number. I want to say it was like at 14.5 or something like that. I was like, I'm going to wait a couple of games, see how these shake out, how they adjust. But I was like, man, with that 33 minutes is like, if he plays like 28 at least, I feel like I should be able to get that. But I stayed away. So Chris Duarte, available in about 50% of Yahoo fantasy basketball leagues. Go and check him out. Next up is what's that?
Do they got TJ Warren back yet?
I don't know. It's a good question. Let me see. I'll tell you here in about 2 seconds. TJ Warren is out. He is out.
Still out.
He is still out. Still in a boot. He is weeks away.
Wow.
All right. So next up, we got Ricky Rubio, only 30% rostered in Yahoo fantasy basketball leagues. Great first game. 12 points, 4 boards, and 10 assists and a steal. That's the Ricky Rubio I want to see. I want to see this man distributing and making easy buckets. Give it to me all day. I own him in just one league. I have 2, so I own him in one. Drafted him. Not a pickup for me, but yeah, with only 30% rostered, I mean, how can he not?
Yeah, he's a good waiver wire ad. I do think you'll see some, like you said earlier, peaks and valleys of his game just because of who he's got in front of him. Obviously, with Sexton and Garland, he will be fighting for some of that. But in category leagues, you'd love to see this. You got 12 points. He's adding rebounds. I mean, double and very low turnover. Yeah, you gotta like it.
Yeah, and he played 25 minutes, even with Garland and Sexton there. I feel like both of those guards work better at the 2, while Rubio is a fundamental 1. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's a very good blend of the 3 because, well, yeah, you probably want to prioritize Garland and Sexton just based on their athleticism. Like they can get up and down the floor really quickly, but at the same time, when we got to pull one, all right. Whoever's more fresh stays and Rubio comes in. That's keep it simple. And that one of those guys will just slide right over and just catch and shoot. I think it's a great situation for him. And I think that's what Rubio's been missing is a really good situation where he can get minutes and he's not really pulling away from anyone else's role on his team. So I think it's a slam dunk. Go out and grab him, guys.
Yeah. Distribute.
Yep, absolutely. Next up, we got Paddy Mills. He logged 29 minutes for the Nets in his first game with them. 21 points. Not much else, very similar to Duarte. A couple of boards, a couple of assists, a steal and a block, but only 37% rostered. Definitely a guy I would grab right now with Kyrie still out. I mean, if that narrative changes and he's back on a regular basis, then, maybe this isn't the play, but I don't know. The signs don't really seem to be pointing in that direction. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Paddy Mills is actually going to have a big role on this Nets team, even with Kyrie back, but even more right now with him out. He puts in points, and they're going to need that off, a guy coming off the bench if Kyrie does come back. But for right now, with that, he's only, 37% rostered? It's a must-add right now.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like they should, kind of move him into the lineup and just move everybody down. Harden's at the 1 right now, Harris at the 2, KD, Griffin, and then Claxton. Honestly, I put Griffin to the bench and throw Mills in at the 1 and just move everybody down. Throw Joe Harris at the 3, Harden at the 2, just let KD play the 4. You stretch out the paint a little bit. You can mix in Griffin and Claxton at the 5. I don't know. I feel like he's a starter.
Right now, I could definitely see that. I also guess Paddy Mills is kind of one of those like spark plug type guys, though, who you bring him in off the bench and he can kind of lead the second wave. So either way, I think for fantasy purposes, go get him, because right now is the best time you'll have, until Kyrie comes back.
Literally, he just smashed one in between the rim and the backboard. Paddy Mills. He was looking at a double team. He says, "You know what? I got something for you." Oops, my bad. All right. Next up, we got Devin Vassell of the San Antonio Spurs. He logged 25 minutes in game 1, 19 points, 2 boards, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty solid production. If you're looking at categories, that's filling out, a solid part of four of them there. Don't love the 25 minutes. I'd like to see him get a little bit more, especially with Doug McDermott starting at the 3. I feel like there should be a little bit more opportunity for Vassell as the season goes on. Between the two, who would you rather own, McBuckets or Vassell?
Oh, we talking Doug McDermott, right?
Dougie McD.
Oh, man. I guess I like McDermott right now, maybe just because he's starting, right? He
is a starter, oddly enough.
Yeah, maybe I lean him right there. I do think Vassell's a guy I kind of just I'm in a hold right now with him. They played the Orlando Magic. Obviously, you kind of want to see what he could do against another team. 15% rostered, you'll have a little bit of time to probably get him. But definitely one of those guys where you could just throw in on a nightly basis and just, hey, you got to get any points you can. So you throw him in and you hope he does have the upside of having a decent night all the way, whole stat line.
Yeah, fair enough. I think he's worth a look. I agree with you, though, with the 15%. You can probably wait to see what he does versus Denver, Milwaukee, the Lakers. He does have some tougher matchups coming up. So I can hear you and sympathize with that. All right, next up, we've got Desmond Bane for the Memphis Grizzlies. Logged 30 minutes in game 1, 22 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals. Did have 3 turnovers, but he made 4 free throws, I feel like, to make up on that. They're going to be missing Dylan Brooks for a while. Is Desmond Bane your guy to fill in those minutes and fill in your fantasy roster while we're waiting on Brooks to come back?
Yeah, Desmond Bane last year, and there's another one. There was another guy. Who am I thinking of on the Grizzlies as well? Name starts with a D, I want to say. Anyway,
I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
And obviously Dylan Brooks, but he's out right now. I like him a lot. He's going to add in. He's going to get the minutes there. You want to see that turnovers, especially if you're playing categories. You want to see that down. 3 is a little tough. Could be worse, I guess. But no, he fills out a stat sheet, and I think you see him sitting at 15 points quite often.
D'Anthony Melton?
Yes, and I think that might be the other one. I mean, those were guys that, as the season progressed last year, you're picking up, maybe they weren't a mainstay on your team, but hey, I need someone to play on this night that there's 3 games and the Grizzlies got them. Hey, let's throw them in because they have upside at times. And I like the Grizz as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So they both did very well. So Bane put up 23-3. And Melton put up 24-3. So it was pretty solid from both. Looks like they're going to mix in there. And if you don't own one of them, or if you don't own both of them, go out and at least get one. Only 29% owned Desmond Bane right now. Next up is Hassan Whiteside. Didn't think this would be happening for a while, but only 15% rostered, 19 minutes, 6 points, 10 boards, 2 blocks, and a steal. Is the defensive specialist enough to get on your fantasy roster?
I mean, if you're playing categories, I think you have to, just for the upside he brings in that blocks and steals category. I know last year, at least, I was really fighting with those categories, just trying to get anything I could. So the ad here is good. I do think you got to kind of pump the brakes a bit. 19 minutes. It's tough. He's obviously sitting behind Rudy Gobert and going to eat some of his backup minutes. So right now, I'm maybe not running but I'm maybe jogging to the waiver wire to get him.
I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna hold still. I'm glad to see that he got out of Sacramento. That's gonna help Rashawn Holmes and Hassan Whiteside, both of them, because he wasn't getting any playing time whatsoever. So glad to see he's got a fresh start. I'm gonna hold off for a little bit. Defensive specialist for sure, rebounds and defense, but I'm going to stay away for now. I think there's going to be better options. And to me, he's just a guy that you're going to pick up and drop.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's jump into our live betting. We're going to catch up with the games that have been in action so far. We've got quite a few that we haven't touched on just yet. So we're going to get to those before we get back to the 76ers and the Nets. Give me one sec while I get basketball pulled up here. All right, so right now we've got the Hornets traveling to Cleveland. They are down by 5 to the Cavs. Cavs are up 59-54. I'm kicking myself for not taking the Cavs at plus money at home. Home dogs, guys. Look at home dogs. Stare at them until you put your money down on them, okay? Right now, Live Pick has this game as a pick 'em. The Hornets are plus 130. The plus has flipped. The Cavs are now the favorite at minus 160. So we'll just stick with that. Who do you think is going to come out on top in this one? I guess I got to go with Cavs because that's what my instincts were saying, but I stayed away.
So going into this game, I really like the Hornets. And I guess I still like them at that value with you saying plus 130. I do think maybe you see Cleveland struggle to close down the stretch.
Both teams are scoring. They are both scoring a lot. So Cavs were 30-27 in the first quarter with the lead, and now they're at 29-27. They're at halftime. So, but a lot of scoring.
Yeah, I really don't know. I probably take the value just money line with Hornets.
Fair enough. I'm going to go Cavs. That's where my instincts were pregame. Right now, the total is locked at 227. I would take the under on that if they give anything between 224 plus. I would take the under on still. I think that number's still really high.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got the Pacers and the Wizards. Man, killing me. Wizards ahead at home. Not saying that's going to be the case, but holy hell. 73-70, Steve. We're at halftime. That one's going to the over.
That one's going to crush the over.
Oh, my Lord.
And Pacers that's terrible because I got the Kuzma under on points.
How's that looking for you?
He's got 8 at halftime, so
the books are they're on.
I'm alive.
Numbers.
I'm alive, yeah.
I'm going to take the game just tied at halftime. So the Pacers hit a 3 to close out the half. I'll take the Wizards plus 1.5 at home.
So going into the game, I was on the same boat as you. I like the Wizards going into this. But then right now I'm just checking out this Pacers roster, and I think they're going to pull it out down here. I love them adding Torrey Craig for defense. Yeah. And last year they were just a team that really played very, very good basketball, at least earlier in the season. I like their depth on their roster. So I'm going to go Pacers here.
I'm going to go Wizards. They just unlocked the value, minus 135 Pacers, plus 105 Wizards, and that's a pick 'em. Yeah. They took away the spread.
Good value.
Next up, holy mother of Moses. The Knicks are up by 30. Shame on us, Steve. Shame on us for not taking the 7. Shame on us. Guys, hammer every spread on the Magic until they get to like plus 15. 65-35, Steve. The spread live is 27.5. 27.5. I'm not taking that. I'm not touching it. There's nothing that I can pick here. Under 205. Give me that.
What are we?
Under 205.
I would not advise anyone to bet this, but I'm curious. Do they even offer a money line right now on Orlando?
No, they won't. No, they won't give us a money line on this. They're up by 30. Minus 50,000. Ooh, James Harden stuffed by Andre Drummond. Get that out my house, son.
I mean, as we expected here, Knicks, good team. Magic, not such a good team.
Super bad. Like Nick Lovin, super bad. Like, my goodness. 30 points.
Fournier adds a good dimension to that Knicks team, though. I do like that addition to him. And if Kemba could get going.
Oh, yeah. Kemba, D. Rose, Fournier. I mean, I was liking the Fournier move to Boston last year, and it just didn't work out. I think maybe they just didn't have the chemistry, but I like what he does add to that roster as well. Love Julius Randle. The Knicks were a great story last year, a team that we were all hitting the covers on last season. Shame on us for not grabbing it right now. I mean, that was our most profitable team last year on the Hizzy. Was
100%.
Hands down. We were eating covers for breakfast.
Well, and when you have Reggie Bullock, points, rebounds, and assists thrown in there, you're loving the Knicks.
Yeah, but he's with Dallas now, so
yeah, we got robbed.
It's never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. When I was betting them separately, but every now and again I would mix in, that prop with the cover. So
yeah,
right now we got 76ers 36-30. We're at 10 minutes left in the second quarter. All right, this one we got Raptors Celtics tie ball game. 9:30 left in the second quarter. We got 25-25. They just started the second quarter not too long ago, but each team only has 2 points so far, so they're missing some shots to start the second. Raptors are now plus 6.5. Celtics are minus 6.5. Over is at 201.5, I should say. And the Raptors are plus 250 on the money line with a tie game. I still like the Celtics.
Yeah, I still like the Celtics here. I don't like that initial, I think it was 7.5. Raptors getting some output from Scotty Barnes, which you love to see. Van Vliet hasn't got going here. So that kind of worries me if I'm taking the Celtics, if he starts to get hot. But down the stretch, I think the talent outproduces the Toronto.
Yeah, I agree. The Celtics are still a better team. Love their roster. Love the starters. Raptors are beat up. They're missing Siakam. Yeah, hard pass. Interesting game, though. 23-23 first quarter. Get some defense. I'll have to check that one out. All right, we already mentioned the 76ers and the Nets. They're now 38-33. Nets are still Nets are plus 2.5 on the spread. Excuse me. 76ers were plus 2.5. So I love the 70s, or I don't love the 76ers at minus 2.5. I love that my pick is probably going to hit. That's nice. Over right now is at 225.5. We got about 81 total points here. Or I'm sorry, 71 total points. What do you think?
Oh, what was the number again?
Right now it's at 224, but I think pregame it was 226, so it wasn't that far off.
I still like the under. I think this is going to be one that's late in the game. It's going to be trading back and forth with some defensive stops in there.
Yeah, I agree. Andre Drummond is handing out, he's handing out blocks like Donald Trump at a NASCAR race, handing out vaccines. Not the good ones. No, Andre Drummond, don't get hurt. Get up. All right. Next up, we got the Bulls and Pelicans. They just started, and Houston and the Rockets. They just started. So nothing really to report on those games. We're going to be closing it down here. Good first show. I'm going to close out with this possession here because I got my boy Furkan Kormats in his bag. Wervin Dervin. He just had a nice little crossover jump shot. It was pretty nice. Furkan Kormats, go out and get him. All right, cool. You got anything to close it down with? You want to check in on our props before we head out, or?
I just did. Not looking good right now. I mean, my Kuzma, I'm sitting right at it. I got him at 16.5. He's got 8 at halftime. This Rockets game just kicked off. Jayshawn Tate had the first 5 points for them.
Nice.
Kevin Porter Jr., though, not getting started, but that's a really low number, and the game just started. So I like where I'm at.
I wouldn't be too worried about that one. They're up 7-4, and if you say you took the first 5, then sweet. Let's go. Keep an eye on that for next week for Jayshawn Tate props. All right, cool. Thanks for everybody for stopping by. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/TakeItToTheHizzy. We will be back Sunday. Today's Friday. Yeah. One of the few days we're going to have off is tomorrow, so we'll be back Sunday for fantasy football. Take care, be good, and if you can't be good, later.